Are men great or good? Have a look at this video and decide for yourself. So many of the greatest people in the world have been men. Let's start with the greatest explorers. Nearly all were men. Leif Erikson, Ferdinand Magellan, Lewis and Clark, and Christopher Columbus, Neil Armstrong, just to name a few. The greatest composers have been men. Bach, Beethoven, Brahms, Bernstein, and the Beatles. And that's just the B's. The world's greatest gamers are men. In chess, all the world champions have been men. Boris Spassky, Bobby Fischer, and Magnus Carlsen are just a few. In esports, we have an abundance of men at the top, including Team Newbie, Wings Gaming, and Evil Geniuses. So many of the world's greatest scientists were men. Men like Darwin, Einstein, Galileo, Newton, Pasteur, and Hawking. Think of the greatest athletes of all time. Who comes to mind? Men. Jesse Owens, Ted Williams, Muhammad Ali, Michael Jordan, Usain Bolt, Pele, Babe Ruth, just to name a couple of them. The greatest spiritual teachers and peacemakers were mostly men. Buddha, Christ, Krishna, Gandhi, Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela, and the Dalai Lama. The world's greatest artists have been nearly all male. Da Vinci, Rembrandt, Picasso, Van Gogh, Monet, Dali, and Magritte. Nearly every major invention has been created by men. Men like Alexander Graham Bell, Henry Ford, Marconi, Gutenberg, Thomas Edison, and the Wright brothers. The greatest writers of the world are primarily men. Shakespeare, Dickens, Melville, Tolkien, Steinbeck, Hemingway, Vonnegut, Orwell, Stephen King. The people who make us laugh are nearly all men. Laurel and Hardy, W.C. Fields, George Carlin, Dave Chappelle, Richard Pryor, Groucho Marx, and of course Robin Williams. Philosophers and statesmen? Confucius, Socrates, Aristotle, John Locke, Thomas Jefferson, Abe Lincoln, FDR, Winston Churchill. So many great men. It's amazing the number of great men in the world. But on top of men's greatness is their goodness. This goodness can be seen every day in billions of unheralded acts by men. The world is filled with good men focusing their energies on the good of society. Millions of good men are the builders of our structures. Look around at your present building. It was likely built by men. The concrete workers, the carpenters, the drywall installers, all working together to build the world. So many men work each day to maintain our structures. The rail workers, electricians, painters, trash men, window washers, road workers, and so many more. Millions of men do daily work to transport our goods from one place to another. The railroad men, the aircraft workers, cargo ship seamen, and the truckers. These good men are all working to see that our culture thrives and things are in their right places. Millions more men protect us and keep us safe. Whether it's the armed forces, the police, or fire departments, these organizations are filled with good men putting their strength to work for the common good. Many brave men are doing the dangerous work. Roofers, high-voltage linemen, oilmen, high-rise window washers, skyscraper antenna repair, crab fishermen, loggers, and so many others doing the dangerous work to keep things running and keep us safe. We've left out so many. The good men who are our farmers, judges, miners, the doctors, grocers, bricklayers, and the lawyers. Far too many to mention. Perhaps most importantly, our country is filled with good men who are loving fathers to their families, their sons, and their daughters. Day in and day out, they love their families and work to provide the needed resources while stewarding their energies in service to their families. And let's not forget that men are the source of life for each of us. You don't hear about these good men in the newspapers, but they're there, working to create a better world. In fact, if you were to add up the goodness of men, you would likely see that it's truly a form of greatness. The bottom line is that men are both great and good. Subscribe, like, and comment, and please do come and see me on Patreon. I could use your support. Men are good. Please share this video with all of the young men and boys you know. They need to hear a positive message about men, which has been absent for many years.